Picture yourself 6 months from today, standing at the edge of a vast, untamed sea. Above you, the sky churns with storm clouds, dark and heavy with the promise of rain. The wind howls, the waves crash, and the air thrums with the electricity of impending chaos. Yet you stand unmoved, not because the storm has ceased, but because you have discovered something extraordinary. Beneath the surface of those turbulent waters lies a depth so calm, so undisturbed, that not even the fiercest storm can touch it. This is the stillness within you, the quiet center that remains unshaken, even when the mind rages like the sea. You wake not to the familiar cascade of anxious thoughts tumbling through your consciousness, but to this profound sense of clarity that settles over you, like morning mist. Your mind, once a battlefield of endless scenarios and circular worries, has become a sanctuary of focused intention. We have all known storms. Days when worry crashes over us in relentless waves, when the winds of what if and if only whip through our thoughts, leaving us battered and exhausted. Overthinking is the tempest of the modern mind, a self-made hurricane that traps us in its eye, spinning us in circles until we forget which way is up. The human mind, in all its magnificent complexity, has become both our greatest asset and our most ruthless adversary. We carry within our skulls a universe of infinite possibility, yet too often we trap ourselves in chambers of our own making, pacing the floors of worry until we've worn grooves so deep, we mistake them for highways. But just as the sea must eventually settle, and the sky must clear, so too can the mind find its way back to calm. The journey begins not by fighting the storm, but by learning to descend beneath it. Here lies the profound paradox of human consciousness: the same mind that creates the prison also holds the key to freedom. The very awareness that recognizes its own entrapment contains within it the power of liberation. Overthinking is the mind's cruel trick, a labyrinth where every turn leads to another dead end, where every door opens onto another room of doubt. It disguises itself as preparation, as wisdom, as necessity. If I just think a little longer, a little harder, I will find the answer. But the truth is far simpler, and far more liberating. Overthinking is not thinking. It is the absence of action, dressed up as its opposite. The overthinking mind operates like a detective who refuses to close any case, forever gathering evidence for crimes that may never be committed, building arguments for trials that will never convene. It convinces us that more analysis equals better outcomes, that if we can just think through every possible scenario, we can control the uncontrollable future. This is the grand illusion, that somewhere in the labyrinth of our ruminations lies the golden thread that will lead us to certainty, to safety, to the elimination of all risk and regret. Consider the monk who watches the storm approach his monastery. He does not rage against the clouds, or demand the sun return before its time. He observes, he accepts, and he adjusts. The storm is not his enemy, resistance is. So too must we learn to distinguish between productive thought and the ceaseless churn of mental noise. The first builds bridges, the second burns them before they are even crossed. We have been conditioned to believe that every thought deserves our consideration, that each worry carries wisdom, that the loudest mental voice must surely be the most important. Yet when did we decide that the quantity of our thoughts determines their quality? Every storm has its origin, a shift in pressure, a clash of fronts. So too does overthinking begin with a trigger, often so subtle we miss it entirely. It may be the dread of an unanswered message, the gnawing fear of inadequacy, or the ghost of a past mistake whispering, "You will fail again." The first step toward stillness is to shine a light on these hidden catalysts. Ask yourself with the gentle curiosity of a scientist, what sets my mind spinning? When did the clouds first gather? Write it down, not as a confession but as a map. A sailor does not curse the wind, he studies it, learns its patterns, and adjusts his sails. Your triggers are not flaws, they are signposts, pointing the way toward deeper understanding. This shift in perspective requires what the ancient traditions call witnessing consciousness, the ability to observe your thoughts without being consumed by them, to watch the drama of your mental theater without forgetting that you are both the audience and the director. Before we continue, I'd love to take a moment to sincerely thank you for being part of this journey toward personal beauty and endless growth. Your support, whether you're watching, subscribing, liking, or sharing, means the world to me. You are amazing, and I'm so grateful to have you here. Now let's back to the video. Once the trigger is known, the next step is not to flee from it, but to face it with unwavering presence. This is the art of mindfulness, a practice as ancient as breath itself. When the wave of overthinking rises, do not struggle against it. Instead, become the observer. Feel the weight of the thought, the heat of the worry, the grip of the fear, and then, like a leaf floating on a river, let it pass without pulling it under. Breathe. Inhale for 4 heartbeats, exhale for 6. This is not avoidance, it is the act of reclaiming your sovereignty. A thought only has the power you grant it. By stepping back, you create space between yourself and the storm, space where choice lives. In that space, you will find a question far more useful than, "What if?" And that is, "What now?" Imagine your thoughts as weather patterns moving across the vast sky of your consciousness. You would not try to stop the clouds from forming or the wind from blowing, but neither would you mistake temporary weather for permanent climate. The sky remains unchanged, whether painted with storm clouds or bathed in sunlight, your essential self remains untouched by the passing weather of your mental landscape. Analysis paralysis is the overthinker's purgatory, a place where decisions are dissected so thoroughly they become corpses, lifeless and inert. The antidote is action, however small. Action is the sword that cuts through the Gordian knot of rumination. Life unfolds not in the realm of endless possibility, but in the crucible of present moments, each one demanding not perfect analysis, but authentic response. If fear whispers, you will embarrass yourself, speak anyway. If doubt murmurs, you are not ready, begin anyway. Action is the alchemy that transforms anxiety into agency. Each step forward, no matter how tentative, weakens the hold of overthinking, like sunlight melting frost. The master chef does not overthink each movement of the knife. Years of practice have embedded wisdom into muscle memory, allowing intuition to guide technique. So too must we learn to trust the wisdom that emerges when preparation meets presence. From this place of compassionate observation comes the power of conscious choice. No longer held hostage by the tyranny of automatic thinking, you can begin to select which thoughts deserve your energy, and which can be released, like dandelion seeds on the wind. This is not suppression or denial, it is discernment, the wisdom to know the difference between thoughts that serve your growth and those that merely serve your anxiety. Some storms are too fierce to weather alone. There is no shame in this, even the mightiest oak bends in the wind. If the tempest of your thoughts refuses to quiet, reach out, not as a failure, but as a warrior, wise enough to know when to call for reinforcements. Speak to a trusted friend, a mentor, a therapist. Let your words be the rope that tethers you back to solid ground. Remember, you are not your thoughts. You are the sky, vast and unchanging, and the thoughts are merely clouds passing through. Storms do not last, stillness does. When you catch your mind, spiraling into the familiar patterns of worst-case scenarios and endless what-ifs. You need not fight the thoughts or judge yourself for having them. Instead, you can acknowledge them with the gentle detachment of someone watching clouds form and dissolve. Overthinking is a habit, and like all habits, it can be unlearned. It begins with awareness, deepens with practice, and culminates in liberation. The mind, once a tyrant, becomes a tool, a compass, rather than a cage. The journey from mental chaos to inner peace is not a destination but a practice, not a permanent state, but a skill that strengthens with use. Each time you choose presence over panic, each time you respond rather than react, each time you trust your intuitive wisdom over the endless committee meeting in your head, you are performing an act of profound alchemy, transforming the lead of mental suffering into the gold of conscious living. Your mind, once your tormentor, becomes your greatest ally when treated not as master, but as servant, not as truth-teller, but as tool. So the next time the storm clouds gather, do not despair. Breathe. Observe. Act. And know, with unshakable certainty, that beneath the turbulence, the stillness remains, waiting for you, as it always has and always will. The peace you seek has never been absent, it has only been obscured by the noise. Beneath the storm, your eternal stillness waits, patient, unchanging, and utterly yours.